Welcome to the news desk. Rich Hagan here, sitting with the Director of Global Organised Play for Wizards of the Coast, Helene Bergeot. Helene, welcome, well, first of all to the news desk, but also welcome back to France. Is Nice local for you?
Not exactly, actually. Well, of course, you know, I'm in my home country, which is always nice, but I'm actually coming from the Loire Valley, so not exactly from here, but it's lovely.
Still nice to have so many people who naturally speak your own native tongue. Great stuff. All right, well, welcome along. What are we going to talk about today? Because I know you're coming back later in the weekend, but what are we going to talk about here?
So today, actually, I wanted to take the opportunity to discuss about the new system of the Pro Tour Qualifiers.
Okay.
Because we just started the season, the very first season, you know, introducing the preliminary PTQs. We have received some very interesting feedback from the players, and so I wanted to take that opportunity just like to give some clarification and about, you know, what players should expect and, you know, how we are looking at the program.
Sure. Well, the thing is, the players, they're very smart. They like to work things out for themselves, and the players have been doing a lot of homework on this new system. So there's a lot to talk about with that.
Yep, absolutely. And what triggered actually just like this discussion today is really came from a very good article that was posted on the website Hipsters of the Coast.
Right.
And it was really discussed at length in the community. I was thinking it's really, you know, a topic that passionates the players. So let's, you know, take a look at what the players are commenting and talking about.
Right, because you're always, I mean, people often assume that Wizards are sitting there in their darkened ivory tower in Seattle and not actually paying attention to what's going on in the wide world. But one thing that strikes me every time I'm in the office is just how many screens are dedicated to looking at what's on social media, looking at what's on all the strategy websites all the time. We always want to know what the players are thinking.
Absolutely, because our goal is just like to create good experiences, nice, you know, tournaments for the players. So we need to know, you know, how they feel about that and listen to their suggestions, to their concerns, so that we address the best possible way.
Okay, so we should go back to the start. So initially, we had Pro Tour Qualifiers, and they've been going for many, many years.
Yes.
You can pretty much, used to be able to just turn up when you wanted and go, I'll play in this. Increasingly, because numbers have been going up, you needed to pre-register to make sure you had a seat. But fundamentally, X number of players would come in, you'd play many rounds, you'd cut to a top 8, somebody would win, and they would win their PTQ, Pro Tour Qualifier, that's their slot. But basically, we just got too many players.
And yeah, just it's something which is like beautiful to experience, you know, just like Magic being so successful. But Magic has been growing so much, especially over the past 2 years, that, you know, it was starting having some, you know, implications on the quality of this experience. And we wanted to make sure that actually we would still run some programs that would be fun for the players and just like delivering that good experience, which is our core priority. This was, you know, why we take a hard look at the PTQ system and decided to craft another new system with the preliminary PTQs leading up to the regional PTQs. And it was also the opportunity for us like that to have your road to the Pro Tour starting closer for the players.
Right, so let's just talk about exactly what the PPTQ actually is.
So the system is very simple, actually. Just like we have a series of preliminary PTQs, and the number of these preliminary PTQs was significantly higher than the previous PTQs that we had, meaning that a player will have, you know, many opportunities to play locally. And then once you win a preliminary PTQ, you qualify for regional PTQ, which is designed to be a small tournament, so that, you know, the experience again is like something very different, you know, and way more enjoyable tournament than just compared to a 400 people tournament. And then, you know, just like the top 4 of the regional PTQ wins their qualification for the Pro Tour, or if you have over 128 players, it's going to be the top 8. So that's currently the system. And since we just started the very first season of the preliminary PTQs, you know, we were very excited to see that we have over 2,000 preliminary PTQs, which compares to a system where we used to have 200 PTQs. Right. So that's what the accessibility that I'm talking about here.
Right, so very much we don't have to travel hundreds of miles to our local PTQ, which we only get to do a few times a season. Now we get all these primary PTQs, which then qualifies for the regional. Okay, on we go.
So that's, you know, that's the starting point. And then the very interesting article from Hipsters of the Coast that I was talking about was just like looking at all the locations for the regional PTQs and putting on comparison just like the preliminary PTQs to, give a sense about, say, how many players could be expected in the regional PTQs.
Okay, so at that point, why don't we put up on screen for you, show you exactly where all these regional Pro Tour qualifiers are going to be. So that is global. Every regional PTQ that you can go to is on there. Now, it's worth saying, Helene, because this is super important, you are allowed, by winning your local store PPTQ, can they get, if I win one in England, can I go to Catskill, New York?
Absolutely.
Can I go to Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia?
You decide. You are in control of your own experience.
Great. I'll go to St. Petersburg in the Russian Federation. I'd love to go to the Russian Federation.
It's great.
It's an awesome city.
Actually, yes.
Right. So I can literally choose any one I want. Now that's all going to be on the same. I can't pick my weekend because this is all the same weekend, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, for this round, absolutely.
Right.
And this is something which I felt was important to remind, the players. You can decide, where you want to play your regional PTQ, because we want to make sure that there are some different options for every single player.
Okay.
And we will observe actually what it means exactly if people are actually going to travel, because we selected the cities where we are going to run the regional PTQs based on their accessibility. It's meant to be like cities where it's easy to go to if you're in Europe, because you can drive or you can take the train or you can fly. In the US, you're probably flying because it's more common than in Europe. But you can decide about where you want to go. And if we see that just like maybe we don't have the best allocation of regional PTQs, this is something that we're going to revisit in the future. So I'm really, really excited to see just like how this first round will go, because we are going to learn so much. It's a new program, so we really need to just be very, very connected to the player experience.
Talk to me a little bit about formats, because one of the things that people got very busy doing is they're saying, so what was your PPTQ? What formats have people chosen? And we found that there were a lot of standard PPTQs. Now, was that something that you wanted? Was that something you were happy to have? Or is that something that you want to address moving forward?
So this is a great question, and I've seen a lot of players actually, asking them to us what was our takes on formats. For this very first round of preliminary PTQs, our priority was to have a high level of adoption from the stores, because that was our promise to the players, the fact that as a player, I have all these locations where I can play in the preliminary PTQ. And with that goal in mind, offering multiple options as format was critical, because we know that just like it was going to be a good sign of to encourage the stores to run preliminary PTQs. And also something to consider for this very first round, the regional PTQs are going to be standard, which I think is also an influence on the format of the preliminary PTQ. Because a number of stores asked us what was going to be the format, because they wanted to mirror that. So all these things altogether just like I think explain the situation, the fact that we have about 80% of the preliminary PTQs that are standard. And all in all, anyway, standard is a must-played format, so it's not a big surprise in that sense. However, back to your question, because it was a good question, we want to make sure that we are, giving multiple formats for players to have fun with. So it's certainly not the goal to have always that type of percentage, that type of breakdown. We would prefer to see more diversity. And so the first thing to consider is that the format of the preliminary PTQs is always going to be impacted by the format of the regional PTQ. There will be some limited regional PTQ. Right. So it's not as if we will.
So that will naturally push us towards playing
Absolutely.
field. Okay.
So that's something which is important to keep in mind, because that's also how we want to make sure that we are going to encourage stores to run more formats. And then we are going to learn from the first rounds. If we need to look at different ways of promoting certain diversity of format, we will take whatever steps are necessary. because for us it's really important that players have the chance to just hone their skills on different formats.
But also, this isn't just about Wizards wanting things to be a certain way. There's a real drive, it seems to me, from outside to basically empower the players to make the decisions for themselves. I look at the Friday Night Magic scene where you and I sat at this desk a couple of PTs ago and said, you know what, you choose. And the thing is, you have local stores out there and you have a relationship with your local store owner, the person you go and see 4 times a week when you're playing Magic. And certainly that's my experience, that you say, hey, look, we'd really love a modern PPTQ next time. We would really love limited next time. Because store owners, it's in their interest
to make their players happy.
Right,
yes, absolutely. Exactly. And that's exactly what was my message also today. Players can influence that program, and that's what I really like about it, because because there's all these opportunities, in terms of number of events, but also the formats. It's a super good opportunity for the players to talk to their store and say, we really would like to play this format, and we are seeing this conversation already happening here and there. So I'm very, very excited to see how far we are going to go as the program just develops. But it's absolutely what I would encourage stores and players to do, talk to each other and find how to make sure that players are being happy. Because the stores, again, they have the opportunity to run preliminary PTQs 4 times a year. That's also something which is huge.
Absolutely. Worth remembering, by the way, that when you go to one of these 31 regional PTQs, even if you don't win the whole thing, because obviously not everyone can do that, you are going to get a little goodie at the end of things. Why don't we show the viewers at home, for those who don't know, what you get anyway just for taking part in the regional PTQ. There you see it, the regional PTQ promo card, a very lovely Liliana of the Veil. So even if you go 0-4 drop at your regional PTQ, you will get a Liliana of the Veil. And that's just as a little memento, a little thank you for travelling, for going, and a congratulation for winning your PPTQ. So that's coming your way. All right, Helene, let's see if we can summarise this. It sounds like the message is something along the lines of, talk to your stores because they want to do what you want them to do.
Yes.
It says, go to your PPTQ, the formats will shift, partly as you ask for them to shift, but also as they link in to the regional PTQ format itself. And carry on having a great time at Magic.
Yeah, and just please keep on talking to us, sharing your feedback and your views and your questions, because that's the best way for us to know how we are, what we need to look at to keep on improving our programs.
Okay. Because without you, there is no organised play. There's just organised. So thanks very much to the Director of Global Organised Play, Helene Bergeot.
Thank you, Rich.